The recording part of the story, I'm on the phone. If you
No.
can give me another 2 more minutes. Okay. Hi, everybody.
You are so cute.
Now you know we haven't practiced this, right? There's been no practice for this.
Hi to each and everyone present on this call. It's this whole meeting that we've created with the wonderful, wonderful Chandana Baba, Isha, and Marni. And looking forward to what they have to share about parenting and abuse for today's call. And that's the topic. And if you guys have any questions, put in and then we'll start with that. How was your day, Chandana?
My day,
How
well,
is your day?
my day has been beautiful, and I've been actually looking forward to this beautiful call that Marni, Isha, and I have been really excited, and we've been like texting each other another half an hour, another 20 minutes, and it's been just so exciting. It's like, yeah.
Marnie, where are you?
I am in front of my fireplace in Colorado Springs. It's cold.
Oh, yeah. Let's turn the heat up then.
Yeah, it's cold outside. It's nice and
So,
It is so wonderful because in India, that's pretty much the opposite. It's cold outside and it's cold inside in Delhi in the winters.
Yeah.
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 Not everywhere in India, Chandana.
In Delhi.
Not for us in Mumbai.
Yep. Mumbai is lovely in the winters, right? January, December.
Well, we are hot and our city is also hot.
Oh, right.
That was the best one so far.
Nice. Yes, indeed. Okay. So have you started with the recording or are we waiting?
Yeah, we're on.
yeah.
Cool. All right. Wonderful. Marni, take
Started from the time I couldn't control,
Nice.
So do you want me to just jump in or to
Yes,
Chandana?
please do.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. And as Chandana said, we've been messaging and counting down for the time for this to start so we could come on with all of you guys. And I'm excited for a couple of reasons. First of all, Chandana and Isha are amazing. And I'm really grateful and honored to be co-creating some things with them because they're just such a, as all of you that know them know, just such a gift in the world and such like this really soothing, gentle, graceful, ease-filled, joyful invitation to something else in the world without any force, without any point of view, without anything. They just be that. And I'm super grateful for the gift that is in my life and that it is in the world. And with our topic today of abuse, that's kind of like the contrast.
Can I just say thank you for that?
Yes. Yes.
I didn't mean to cut you, but I had to cut you.
You can cut me.
Like,
It's okay.
I'm so grateful for you to say that because when I met you the first time, Marni, which was like I think a couple of years back, and when I met you, and it was like I was like, wow, that's the lady who has not just the grace around her, but the elegance of knowing what to, not just, again, it's like an elegance of being, an elegance of creating. And every time that I've been creating with you with CPCK, and we have the conversations and the space that you be for the creation of CPCK, if I can say that, for everybody who doesn't know, Marni Barranco heads CPCK, Conscious Parents, Conscious Kids. And she's the one who literally cradles it in her arms. And it's just so nurturing to see the way you are with CPCK and to see the way you are with us as facilitators, allowing us to be what we choose to be and allowing us to take CPCK. It's literally like CPCK and us, hey, let's just go for a little walk in the park. We have no rules. We're just going to have some fun. And we have Marni telling us, go have fun. It's literally like that, where it's a space of creation with the class and with you, that is so much of ease. And I can't begin to tell you how grateful I am to be, I'm honored. I'm like really honored to be facilitating this class with you, to be facilitating CPCK with you, and of course with Isha. It's just been beautiful. And I just can't stop asking, how did I get so lucky and what else is possible from here?
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
I'm really looking forward to Isha pitching in. It's almost like, the kids are going to have a voice right now.
Yeah. Well, and if you joined us for the last Zoom, apparently we're going to cry this morning. But Isha was talking at one point about, and I want the clip. If you guys can go back and clip it, because I will put it everywhere. But she was talking about very, very eloquently about what if there is no fight and ending the fight. And it was just so beautiful and really an awesome lead into this conversation, because when you're looking at abuse, whether you've been on the receiving end of it or you've given it, and we've probably all done both. We've probably had it given to us and we've probably perpetuated it. But what's at like the root of all of it is that fight for something. There's something that we don't really trust that is available to us, or that we have, or that everything's taken care of. There's a fight against something that leads to the abuse that happens in the world. And so ending the fight, which she talked about. So seriously, if you can get the clip, it was towards like the end. It was awesome. Yeah, ending the fight. And I love that, starting off this conversation with the acknowledging of one another, because a lot of us, probably most of us on this call, that likely wasn't the environment we grew up in, where we were acknowledged for our being. Most of us growing up, it's about rewards for doing the right things, the correct things, getting the right answer, behaving properly, and then punishment for getting it wrong and having the wrong answer and not behaving properly. And when that's the system that you grow up in, it becomes all about like this performance and trying to prove and striving to be good enough. And what if we started with us, first of all, to acknowledge us as a being, to acknowledge the energy that we be in the world that's different and unique than anyone else, and the gift that it is to the planet. And what if we acknowledge our being beyond anything in this reality, just not about what we do or don't do, not about right answers and wrong answers, literally just about who we be. And then from that space of acknowledging ourselves, what if we started to interact with the world, with all of the people we engage with, including our children, including our parents, including our siblings, from the space of who are you beyond what you do? Who are you beyond the mask you think you're supposed to wear? Who do you be in the world? And how can I be the mirror that reflects back to you the brilliance, the greatness, and the gift that you are? So can you imagine if we functioned that way, what would be created in the world? Abuse wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
It wouldn't exist.
Yeah, absolutely. So beautiful what you said. I mean, what if that really was a possibility? Isha, were you going to say something? Yeah.
I wasn't going to say it, but I wanted to say it. But abuse is something as basic or not as basic as just invalidation of our very being. And it stems from even before we take birth and choose a body and come into this reality in this lifetime. And how many times have we, and I was reading this in the reference material, that abuse is something, the maximum kind of abuse that we do on ourselves is when we're actually not willing to be present in our world and in our life. When we're invalidating our knowing, when we're buying into other people's validation and positive. So positive judgment is one of my favorite topics nowadays. It's really exciting. When I differentiate positive judgment and acknowledgement, it's super exciting. But even when we buy into positive judgment, it's not something that generally creates an expansion in our world. Because positive or negative judgment is judgment. It's not acknowledgement. So, like Marnie said, like, what energy, space, and consciousness can we all be to acknowledge ourselves? Because it all starts with us. If we are truly willing to acknowledge ourselves, nobody can come with a cotton candy of positive judgment and take us to the abuse that we all so very dearly love being in the hands of. And and the second we all start acknowledging ourselves, the love for abuse starts to end.
Wow.
That's a meme. Somebody needs to write that down.
Isha has this way of doing it, right? Just
Yep. It reminds me of like the archer and, you know, like pulls back and then just like, boom, bullseye.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely, abuse is something which, you know, like Isha said, it starts so early. Sometimes it starts even before you take a body and come into this world. It's almost like you're so aware of, you know, whether you are really wanted or not wanted by your parents. And then when you come into this world, you're like, you have a knowing that is so different from what's being projected at you. And when that is being projected at you and you are aware of something that's so different, and you try and make yourself believe what's being projected at you, but you constantly know something that's different, and you're fighting your knowing to believe that what is being projected at you is true. That's literally an abuse of yourself. That's literally an abuse of your being, because when you choose something that's against your knowing, that's basically abuse. When you're made to do something against your choice, that's abuse. So it's like when you know that, it's like, you know, when children, I've noticed when kids are just so aware of parents, and they're like parents who are fighting, and the kids come into the room and they say, what happened? And the mom turns around and says, oh, nothing happened. Come on, run to your room. Look, you're fine. Run to your room.
Never happened with us, I swear.
Never happened with you. Absolutely. That's how I know it, right? And it's, now I realize it's such an abuse of what the child knows when she walks in. It's literally like making the child wrong for her knowing. And the child is this confused little bundle in that moment, and like, but I know something, but mom is the one who's supposed to know more than me, because that's where they just, you know, the mom says the moon comes out, the sun comes out from the west, kids will believe it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's my mom. Yep.
And like Isha said, it's an invalidation of your being too. So I wonder how many of us listening to this, you were in that as a kid where you knew what was going on, but you were told that you were wrong. You were told it was something else, and you gave up knowing that you knew because you got the message that you were wrong and incorrect. So what if you could reclaim your knowing and not let anybody ever invalidate it again? What if you allowed you to have it, no matter what anybody else says?
And everything that doesn't allow that.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pod and talk all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds.
Yeah. I mean, self-abuse is something that's so huge, and not just in this country or states, but I think worldwide, where it's just something that we literally grow into. You know, you literally grow into, because you start to believe everything. You start to not believe what you know. You start to make yourself wrong for what you know. And then it's something,
Also,
yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
But like, also, a lot of times, the relationships in this lifetime of ours are not the relationships that we've known from before. So there's a lot of times abuse also comes from the space of where we know something different possible in the form of a relationship with who our child is or who our parent is. But there's this whole confusion as to, but I know a different reality with this person. But then there's tradition, there's culture, there are rules, there are regulations. And then that whole thing of being passed down onto us, as though we have to follow our family traditions, which is again a huge lie. So everywhere we are taking responsibility for our family traditions, and everywhere we are following through rather than going according to what we know in this moment. Can we just try and uncreate that?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pork, online, shorts, boys and beyond. So like, if someone is your child in this lifetime, it's not necessarily true that they were your child in the previous lifetime. So instead of, then that's another area where a fight comes in, because your being knows something so different, where a relationship of all of it is possible. There's a parent who can be your friend, your parent can be your sister, your parent can be your brother, your parent can also be your father when it's required. But then there's this form, structure, role, and significance we give to ourselves that we have to fit into that all the time. Otherwise, we are wrong. We're not a perfect parent because we're not being the strictness or whatever, or we're not imposing the rules on our child that like we're supposed to. But what if you as a being know that there's something else available and possible with a relationship that includes all of it? You can also be a friend, you can also be a parent, you can also be whatever is required to be with your child in that moment, rather than being the form and structure and significance of what a parent is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is making any sense.
It is. You'd be surprised it is.
So when there's an invalidation of what you know from all the other lifetimes and all the other time spaces and dimensions, that's another huge invalidation, which may or may not also lead to abuse of what you know that you have accessed with that person and with that being before this lifetime. And what if you're here together to unleash all of that you have not? And if you keep functioning from the form, structure, significance of a relationship that you've given a label to in this lifetime, you'll never be able to unleash what you can together.
Wow.
Wow. Yes.
True that. Yeah. Well, you just shut us all up, as you can see.
Yeah, did. I'm like, yeah, that, okay.
All done.
Mic
Right.
So I'm just grateful for you both.
It's mutual. It's mutual. And I'm grateful for, well, so the empowerment that you are and that you offer and invite people to, the empowerment that you choose and invite everyone else to. It's pretty freaking awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, true that. And that's where actually, when you start looking at receiving the empowerment from a child, I mean, how many of us are supposed to be empowering our kids? And it's just supposed to be that one way. You know, your kids can't teach you. Your kids don't know. They're supposed to be told what to do. They're supposed to be always, rules are supposed to be given to them. And that's when you're actually shutting down your child's knowing of what really is possible beyond everything that you decided is possible.
Hmm.
We have a few questions.
We do. And if I would love to start with the what's beyond abuse, if you don't mind. And then
Yes, please.
go back to some of the others. But I love that question, what's beyond abuse? And I don't desire to give an answer to that, because that question is a very, very powerful question. What's beyond abuse? But what a great question to be asking. What is beyond abuse? Because most of our cultures and societies and all of them are built on abuse. They're built on invalidation of self and invalidation of knowing and, forced to follow the rules and to be controlled. So if all of that was destroyed and uncreated, what is beyond that? And, there's two pieces that I would say in starting for yourself to move beyond abuse. Because as both Chandana and Isha have said, it's really about what we do to ourselves is where it starts. Because there's this interesting thing. When we stop abusing us, so does everybody everybody else. Kind of a weird little thing there. But when we're like, no, I'm actually going to stop invalidating me, then it's not that people don't still try to invalidate or control you, but you go, I actually recognize my own value. And so I'm going to just step over here and say, no, thank you. No, thank you. But so acknowledging, as we started off with, acknowledging ourselves and allowance for ourselves are really two huge pieces in moving beyond abuse. Total allowance for you when you hit the target, when you don't. Total allowance for you on the days that you're just happy and flying high, and the days when you're like, I don't even know how to take the next step today. Whatever it is, allowance for yourself, I would say.
Yeah. And it's also about, it's also about your relationships start with you. So if like Marnie, you said, if the abuse is there with you, with yourself, with your not knowing what you know, and with your not acknowledging your knowing, and with you constantly looking outside of you for what others know, that's what you're going to be with your kids, and that's what you're going to teach your kids to be. And that's what this reality parenting is about. And that's what this reality, not just parenting, but that's what this reality is about. It's about making yourself wrong so others can be right. So yeah, I mean, beyond abuse, I really wonder if there is anything that lies beyond abuse, because truly this, like consciousness includes everything, right? It also includes,
there'll be too much empowerment. Don't choose it.
Yeah. True. And consciousness includes everything, right? It's like, it does include everything, yet there's something that, what if you could just acknowledge that this is abuse and this doesn't work for me, and I'm now choosing something different.
And thank you for saying that, because like I look at my mom, she loves to be abused, and she invites it into her world all the time from all family members, from whatever. And consciousness does include everything. And there was a long time when I tried to, get her to choose something else. Like, why would you let these people do this to you? And just why don't you choose something else? And then it dawned on me one day, she loves abuse, and she loves sadness, and she loves drama and trauma. Awesome. So who am I to tell her that she should choose anything else? So
yeah, it's literally like you're taking her fun away.
Exactly. This is the way she chooses. It is. It's how she creates her life. What Samantha says in there, how much have we made abuse the source of creation and generation? A lot, I would say. And for some people, it's fun. So I stopped trying to get her to try to take it away. She likes to choose it. So consciousness includes my mom likes to be abused. So I'll let her have it. Not meaning I become the abuser, but I'm not trying to fix her from the people who she's inviting to abuse her. Not my job. So
yeah, because when you start to stop and make a wrong for choosing abuse, it's actually an abuse too.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So it's like,
it's
really
a superior point of view. It's a very superior point of view. I know better.
Very superior point of view. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So
I have a question.
Yes, go for it.
Could you shed more light on when we started, what Isha had shared about how much of fight is there in abuse? If you could shed a little more light on how much are we truly fighting within the space of abuse? And how much of rightness and wrongness is there in the space?
I would say like it's infused with rightness and wrongness. And for me, the fight is with myself. Like the fight within abuse is the fight within myself. So when I stop fighting me and stop trying to fit me into stop abusing me, stop trying to fit me in some box that I decided I should fit in, then the fight kind of goes away. And when I'm not fighting with me, then there's really nothing else to fight with. So it sort of just changes things.
Yeah. It's also like when you're fighting abuse, you're actually coming from a space of no choice. Because really, would you have to fight anything if you knew you had choice? You would just have to fight because you've decided that you have no choice. So you're literally defending your point of view by making the next one wrong for his point of view. which you have decided is abuse. So it's all about judgment, and it's all about you making yourself a victim in the fight.
And also, like you stated, the thing about right and wrong. Right and wrong is just all that right and wrong is designed to do is keep us locked in the judgment of ourselves. And again, the thing about judgment is a huge part of just invalidating what we can choose, because we don't allow ourselves to choose, and right and wrong is what we use most of the times. And that's a huge invalidation of what you like, how you can be free.
Mic drop.
Another mic drop. Yes.
I'm going to have to learn to receive now.
Yes.
Yay. Turn it up.
Totally. Yes.
So
yes.
there was a question, I think it was Samantha asked back here about, was it need, what did you say? Helpless. Is helplessness a lie? So Isha or Chandana, do you want to speak to that one?
But helplessness, is there really anything known as helplessness? Because it's only when you choose to be a finite being is when you start to believe that you're helpless. Helpless is another word for being choiceless. Yes, please.
Sorry, but I'd love to add something there too, because it was huge in my world also. Help is a lie. To help someone, you have to really, to help someone, you really have to consider yourself to be really superior. You have to be a real superior bitch and this whole thing about helping is, it's great to make yourself feel wanted and validate yourself to go out there and help others. It may not be the greatest thing, because it's the best thing that you can do to make people finite, which equals no empowerment. So helplessness, on the other hand, comes from the same thing of being like the need of help, which is the need of being finite. Would an infinite being really truly require any help?
But as a parent, it's our job, to help our kids. It's literally like parenting in this reality is about helping our children. It's not about empowering them. It's about making them needy for you, so you can be of use to them.
So you can feel valuable.
You can feel so valuable.
And you can fulfill your role.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite things that Gary Douglas says in the Next Generation telecall for CPCK is basically, and I might be paraphrasing, but one of the greatest things that you can do for your kids is to make them needless of you. So how many of us as parents are willing to allow our children to be needless of us? And if we have anywhere where we're seeking validation from how we are as a parent and how our kids are with us and how our kids behave in the world, if we're seeking validation from that relationship, we will not allow them to be needless of us. We will create ways in which they must depend on us so that we can feel good about ourselves. So everywhere we're doing that, using that parent-child dynamic to validate us as beings or as parents or as people, can we destroy and create that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and puck, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. What if we chose to truly let our children be needless of us? And I have to say, like, I'm sitting here crying, Isha, I love you. And I just, sorry. When the creation of CPCK, Isha is what I desire in the world, more of that, because she shows up as who she is, empowered, not trying to please anybody, not trying to get the right answer, so clear and aware of what's truth and what's a lie and what she's choosing and what's next, and this potency. And when I create all the things with CPCK, from classes to, telecall to working with the facilitators, that right there is what I just desire to have more in the world. Kids that are empowered to know, and they just fucking go for it. So, thank you, Chandana and Isha, for your choices. And what Jesus, huge gratitude for this. And how can we have more of this in the world, please? More of this in the world, please.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Marnie. Yes, Isha is indeed, I'm just speechless every time I hear her talk and every time we facilitate. It's like, she's just this energy of, I know there's change required and I'm willing to be that, whatever way it shows up. And
Well,
I'm so grateful to you, Marnie, for actually seeing that, and for actually, for being that energy of where it's not a wrongness. It's not a wrongness to be soft. It's not a wrongness to be kind. Whereas it's just a strength and a courage that lies in you to be kind and to be the softness that you truly be. In a world that's supposed to be so unkind, in a world where you're supposed to be powerful in a manner of having control and power over people so you can kill others so you can survive.
Yeah.
Thank you for you, Marnie. My ask is for more beings like you to show up so more beings like us can thrive.
Well, thank you. And what you just said, because it is when we show up as our being, not with the masks that we've decided we're supposed to wear or the image we think we're supposed to present or the trying to work really hard to get it all right. When we show up with our being and when we allow others to do the same, that's when the world changes. That's when more of this becomes possible. That's when the greater possibility that somewhere all of us know exists starts to show up more and more and get louder and louder and greater and bigger and changes things.
Yeah. And it's about this level of potency that you allow your children to be. When you're willing to allow your children to be that potency that they truly be, is when you step out of the space of abuse. Because any time that you don't allow your children to be that potency is when you're actually abusing them.
And every time you expect your kids to be you, you're abusing them. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. And I talk over that. Every time you expect your kids to be you, you're abusing them. Yeah. And it's not about going into judging, oh my God, I've been abusing my kids. It's, again, it comes back to us. When we're invalidating ourselves, it flows and we invalidate everyone around us and we receive invalidation from others. So when it starts with, you know what, I'm going to acknowledge me for my very being, and I'm going to have total allowance for my very being and for me and all the things I choose, then that flows over to your kids and it flows over to everyone around you, and this whole new space gets created. It's not about trying to get the right answer and stop abusing. It's about being, because when you're being, the abuse doesn't exist. It's like they don't go together.
Yeah. And it's also about, like we've been talking about, you know, how we've been abused, how all of us have, and at some stage of life, we have abused ourselves, we have abused our kids, we have been abused. And to just say, oh, it's okay to carry on with that, you know, is another abuse, and that is another form of abuse where you know it, yet you allow it. Allowing it in your space and allowing it to carry on is an abuse. And that is what I've seen, like lots of times when children grow up like that, they take that into their relationships. So tomorrow, it's not just about you being a child with your parent. It's about you when you step out into the world and have friends, and then you have your partners, and then, you know, you have your children, and everything, the base of everything of creation is so often abuse. The very base of creation is abuse. And that's when and there's so many people who don't even stop to ask, like, is this even creating? Or what am I choosing here? It's just almost like a way of doing it. Instead of being what could actually create something greater. So, questions.
There's a question in the chat. Oh my God, my daughter Pehel is saying, Isha, I love you.
Oh.
It's just listening to Marnie.
I'm just going to cry through this whole thing. Apparently, the crying thing. I'm just like so grateful. Like wow, I am so, I want to say that I'm glimpsing the possibility in the world with parents and kids greater than I ever have up until this moment. And I'm so incredibly grateful. And grateful for every one of you on this call, because you wouldn't be here if somewhere in your universe you didn't know and were asking for that also. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Marnie.
Yeah.
CPCK is really about creating a future.
Yes.
You know, it's like you nurture, you tend to, you like literally, you know, you're creating something that's going to change the future. That child, that being, you're like, it's literally like it's you creating a future with a part of you that's outside of you, yet you. It's like, you know, it's like playing ball together and saying, hey, we can win this game, you know.
Can I ask
fear. Yeah,
sorry,
not at all.
there's another question in here. Do we as children are trying to heal generations of abuse?
Oh yeah, money.
It's like what? Yeah.
Like really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so how much do we come into the world with the capacity to heal, a capacity to change things?
That's blowing my universe. That question is literally blowing my universe. Wow.
Yeah. So, and I'll use my Aaron. I have 3 sons, but Aaron is 11, and all of them, you know, X-Men and healing capacities. And Aaron is off the charts, little healer. I mean, Jesus, like the child can pull things for miles around out of everybody's world, and you know, all of that kind of thing. And he would get sick a lot, like, you know, just not feel well. But there was, I kept asking, like, just, okay, can he hear? Can I ask him a question now about this? Can he hear it? And I kept getting no. All right. And then finally there was a space. I felt a crack in the universe. I was like, I can ask. So I said, Sweets, do you have a healing capacity? And he just, like, his eyes just welled up with tears and they just started spilling down his cheeks. And I said, so how much do you walk through every day, just pulling all of the abuse and all of the pain and all of the thing out of everybody's bodies? And he just, like, his whole body just sobbed. And I said, could you acknowledge your capacity? And then can you also you have a choice? So when it's coming in, you can say, return to sender. Thank you. Got it. Got the information. Return to sender. Yes, I have a capacity. And yes, I get to choose. And his whole world, it doesn't mean he still won't do it. There's times he'll come in, I'm like, having fun healing today? Oh. And then, I'm going to send that back, Mom. I'm like, all right, send it back. So, yeah. And how much do we give to ourselves and our children when we do acknowledge our healing capacities? Just to look at it and go, wow, I am healing just by, like, being on the planet and breathing. I'm healing. Yeah. I love that. My daughter did access with me every day, or whenever I get angry, she says, "Pock and pod." Awesome. Yeah.
And the last question in here is, so when we're working to fulfill our parents' dream, is it an abuse?
Not at all.
Yeah, it's like it's like when you're choosing to when you're basing your life on your parents' dream, where did you go and all of that?
Here's when the question, extremely new in access, comes in. Who are you being? When you're being that.
I haven't heard that one before.
I haven't done it or been it. So I have no idea what she's talking about.
Well, and a clearing that I really love to run often when I find that I am trying to get my mom to stop being abused, or trying to get my kids to see my point of view, or whatever the thing is. What definitions do I have of being a good daughter? What definitions do I have of being a good mother? What definitions do I have of being a good sister? And then pock and pod that. And I will just run that over and over, because oftentimes when I step out of being me and having my reality and going into someone else's universe and someone else's demands and someone else's what they would like for me to do and be for them, there's some definition I have of my role in relationship to them. That's a lie. And if I will destroy and uncreate that lie and let go of that definition of what I think I'm supposed to be in a particular role, then I come back to the space of me.
Yeah.
Definition by definition alone is a limitation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
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 Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So, can you talk about the awareness, like I'm aware of something, I would like to make a choice, but at the same time, I'm confused that maybe I'm trying to get it right, and maybe like my parents are more aware for me on this part. Like, let me share with you exact situation. Like, I would like to I'm not thinking of getting married as of now, but they are saying that you should get married, and we will find a boy for you. So I'm confused at this thing that I don't want to make this choice. Like, I don't want to go by their choice. So is it not like, is it trusting more, is it trusting their awareness, or what is it?
Who wants to go? Chandana?
Yeah, sure. So, well, this is a really common situation in India, right? Where arranged marriage is such a common phenomena. Where yes, people are choosing young girls are choosing their own partners, and boys are choosing their own partners. Yet the system of arranged marriage is still very prevalent, and somewhere just going with it for the fun of it. I mean, maybe they just introduce you to a guy who turns out to be just the one you're looking for. But when you're anyway going to resist it, when you're anyway going to say, no, I'm not going to do it that way, and I have to do it my way, you've already chosen that your way is better than their way. It's again a fight.
Well, and how magical are you? Could you actually ask the universe to say, they think they're choosing, but since you have my back, would you like to choose for me? They can think it's them, but would you like to choose for me? How much of like the ninja, nobody knows, but you're actually creating the magic of what you would like your life to be, while they think you're playing along. They think you're just doing what they want, and you're like, actually, I'm over here asking questions and receiving beyond anything you could imagine, but we're not going to tell anyone, just for me, just for fun. So what magic and miracles are you capable of creating when you ask and receive?
And how much fun can you have meeting different boys every day through the
But I have
matrimonial or whatever your dad and mom want you to go through?
But I have already one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then we want to ask a question, right? What will your life be like 5 years from now if you're with this man? And what will your life be like 5 years from now if you're not with him? You always know. It's like, I remember Gary once saying that you always know the minute you meet somebody whether he's going to be the one or not for you. You always.
That's what I roll with.
Yeah, absolutely. You always know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's when you don't trust your knowing, that you step into judgment, and you start to see if he's the right one or not. But then you
Also,
start
when
to
you,
judge.
no, sorry, please go
Yeah.
ahead.
Go ahead, darling. Yeah.
Okay. Remember when you're pulling in, when you, so like what I invite you to doing is, are you asking for someone to show up in your life? Question, like the first thing. And then if you are, if it's a yes, and when you're pulling in, you can pull in from anywhere. So if the universe is bringing someone to you through your parents or through your friends or through just, I don't know, at a bar, wherever, if you block that out and say, I'm not going here, the universe is just like, but here it is. And you're too busy going everywhere else, but because you have so much resistance over here, you're not going to even go here. But it's here waiting for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's
just
brilliant, Isha. Absolutely brilliant.
Cool.
I would just add to everything Chandan and Isha said, it's amazing. And if you ever go into the two choice universe, I either choose what my parents want or I choose what I want, you kind of, what Isha was saying, you're not actually open to all the possibilities that are available. So if it has to be, I'm either on the side of me or I'm on the side of my parents. I either choose what they want or I choose what I want. You just cut out infinite possibilities. And the other thing is that some of us are really good at being really good children, and we are so aware of what our parents desire. And when we're so aware of what they desire, we go into their universe, and then there's sort of this, I don't know what's me and I don't know what's them, and it's like this thing. So I would really just play with what choice can I make today to choose to have my reality beyond this reality. And everything that doesn't allow me to perceive, know, be, receive what my reality beyond this reality is, destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and girls. So you start to have this sense of you. And again, it's either my parents or it's me, but it is, I can be aware of my parents' universe, but I don't actually have to put myself in it. I can have mine.
Yep. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question.
That was
So
such
we
a
have
nice.
a question about children taking drugs.
Oh, we do? Oh, yeah.
Chandana, do you want to go first on that one?
Yeah, sure. So drugs is, well, if you start to see how this drugs has always been in society, right? In India especially, it's different that it's now coming to the surface. But I remember when we were kids in school, there were drugs, and there was something known as bhang, which is a very common, very easily available drug in India, which is like, it just grows randomly.
That's a celebration
in hills.
drug.
Yeah, it's a celebration drug. So it's allowed to take. Yet, if you see, it started really years and years ago. But it was more of a hush, and it was more of, under the table and in your closed rooms and closed doors. And now kids are coming out openly and talking about it. And you got to make your kids aware. You really got to make your kids aware of what drugs can do to you. You really, for me, I've never told my kids don't take drugs. But I have sat down with them and I have had conversations with them.
Are you sure
saying
about
that
that
if
now?
you take drugs, then this is what's going to happen. You're not supposed to let me out totally on everything, okay? Yeah, no, it's actually, if you remember, I never really did say don't take drugs and don't take it. It was more of, when people take drugs, and this is what shows up for them.
You just made me aware of what it would do.
Yeah, it's more of making your children aware of it, and it's not hiding that from them. It's not like when the children come home and they ask you what are drugs. It's not about telling them, oh, don't talk about it. Who told you about it? It's a bad thing. No, it's not about that. It's more about sitting across them and saying, okay, it's now the time to really talk about drugs. Okay, what do you know about drugs? And then to tell them what really it is, because there is this very conflictual reality about drugs with children today, where it's supposed to be fun and cool, and it's supposed to be that peer pressure that they have. Yeah. And then what it's all about too. So it's really about sitting and talking with them and showing them, and probably even actually taking them for a movie and letting them know what actually happens when people take drugs, letting them see it.
Another great place to start with would probably be to pot and pock your own judgments and resistance and right and wrong of what drugs is. Because if you have a resistance to your child, this is just my point of view, if you resist your child doing drugs, your child is probably a humanoid and he's going to anyway go on to figure it out just because you resisted.
Yeah.
Our kids are awesome about showing us where we have points of view by when that's the one thing that I don't ever want you to do. They're gonna. And what a gift to facilitate you into something else if you'd like to go there. But so there is, I love what Chandana said. And, you know, two things I would add is with my kids, I said, and if you ever do, call me. You're not in trouble.
Yes.
Call me. You're not in trouble.
Yes.
You know, because I wanted them to know there isn't a judgment in my world. You know, here's the information. And at the end of the day, you get to choose. And then the other part of that is the willingness to let them choose if that's what they choose. You know, this is a hard one for parents to get, but if your child is actually choosing to kill themselves through drugs or whatever means, they are an infinite being that gets to choose. It does not mean you're a bad parent and that you should try and control and stop it. Of course you care. Of course you're going to be there in whatever way that you can. And there's something, and when we get to the space of really setting our kids free to choose whatever it is that they choose, then we're free and so are they.
Yep. True that.
We don't want so much freedom, Marnie. We don't want so much freedom.
Oh, what will we do with it? Oh my goodness. We might blow up the world or something. It's so funny. The points of view that get ingrained in us that if we're too free, we're going to just like be destructive. So food is not the same topic as drugs, but my now 18-year-old was the pickiest eater. And I was never, even before access, really one to you have to eat what's on your plate or you have to eat or whatever. But I did try to limit his sugar because I thought the kid would eat sugar all freaking day long. And so I was always trying to get him to cut back on sugar. And he didn't want, he just wanted sugar, sugar, sugar. And then I heard in Access, the story of somebody's kid only wanting ice cream and they just let them have ice cream. And I went to interesting point of view about my point of view about sugar. And I just said to him, I'm done. I'm not going to regulate you anymore. Cabinet's full of sugar. Eat as much as you want. I'm just asking that you ask your body. Now he eats broccoli and he eats every single vegetable under the sun. And when I stopped having a point of view and trying to force him to do something that I thought he should or shouldn't do, and he had total freedom, he went from sugar, sugar, sugar all the time. He still eats sugar, but to also eating what we call healthy things. So it was just very interesting to see how much my point of view created the resistance that was in his world.
So true.
And I have to hop in 2 minutes because I have another call to do. So
and I think we're good for tonight, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the call, Marnie, Chandana, and Ishan. Thanks to each and everybody who hopped on the call. It was really informative. It was really, it shed light on so many things that we were thinking of, but we wouldn't probably ask. And looking forward to the class, looking forward to all the conversations of the future, and what contribution and what invitation can this class truly be to the world, to the future, and the infinite possibilities. Thank you so much.
Can I add really quick to that? Because
Yes.
we're doing the live class and we're also doing POPs, which means we're connecting with people in various parts of the world that are going to have people come and watch on a Zoom, very much like this, while the class is going on. And with the energy that was available to us today, with the conversation of what is possible in the world with all of this and what is beyond abuse, my ask for this class is not only for things to change for every person who chooses to come to the class, but as people choose the class and come to the class and choose greater for themselves, what becomes available around the entire planet with regards to kids, parents, all those family dynamics. And so I would love if that is something that really like strikes a chord with you, like let's have a different possibility on the planet. How much can this class be that? And how much fun would it be to be a part of contributing and co-creating with all of that? So if that's a yes for you, then come join us, because we're not going to have any fun and we're not going to change anything.
Now, families are no longer going to be difficult. They're not going to, they're just going to be way too much fun. Because a Conscious Parents, Conscious Kids class, really, every time that we facilitated it together, and it's always been much more than just parenting. It's been about the full family. It's about creation within the family. It's about, creating relationships outside of your family. And there's so much more.
I have to hop, guys. Sorry, but hugs and see you soon. And thank you,
Marnie.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, you guys.
Bye-bye.
And
Bye.
thank you, Smriti Auntie, and thank you, Samantha, for putting this together. And
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
sweetheart. Thank you for this
Thank you,
beautiful
guys.
call.
Thank you so much, Smriti and Sam and everyone else who joined us. Thank you.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.